Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining our Chan class here at Way Mountain Temple. We are doing the Chan class for the Western, for the USA timetable. How's everyone today? Anyone has any questions, comments? Okay, if not, they can go into the Song of Enlightenment. Okay, this is again for background information. Song Enlightenment is a work of Great Master YongHua, who's supposedly the seventh patriarch. The sixth patriarch is a very famous Chinese monk, very famous Chinese patriarch. I feel he's definitely a Buddha. Well, just my personal opinion. And he trained a lot of eminent Chan masters. And he's the one who really elaborated extensively on the certain teaching Dharma in Chinese Chan. Okay, so he's the first one who explained it extensively. And he trained a lot of good Chan masters, and below him, for the next generation, there were recognized 4 patriarchs, because he's so talented, his Dharma is so profound, that they needed 4 different people to be able to understand the Dharma, his Dharma. Okay, he's a rarity. And YongHua, Master YongHua is one of them. So YongHua became enlightened, and then he came to the 6th patriarch to get certification. That is the case. When you enlighten, the rule for enlightened people is you don't claim that you're enlightened. You never claim you're enlightened. Okay? Those who claim they're enlightened are not really enlightened. Okay, because after you become enlightened, before you're enlightened, enlightenment is such a big deal to you. No? That's why you're here. I say, I'm here because I want to become enlightened. Well, after you become enlightened, you just, is that all? and you say, I don't understand why people are so impressed with enlightenment. There's nothing to it. That's why they're too embarrassed to talk about it. It's my personal version. Okay. But the official version is that enlightenment, after you become enlightened, it's no longer a big deal like before you became enlightened. And therefore, you don't even bother talking about it. I don't know if that makes sense to you. Before you enlightenment seems to be such a cool thing, fantastic thing. Once you become enlightened, you say, I'm no longer attached to enlightenment. Once you have it, what's a big deal? You see? So that's why truly enlightened people never talked about it, never really tell others that they are enlightened. And that's why the rule of thumb for enlightened people is that since they cannot tell, they won't tell others they're enlightened, but they're supposed to seek another good advisor to get certified as being enlightened. So YongHua, Master YongHua, knew that. He said, I think I have a cool state. Okay. And so he sought the 6th patriarch for certification. And the 6th patriarch looked at him and certified him. And then after he was certified, he immediately wanted to leave. He said, okay, thank you, I'm out of here. You see? So that's typical enlightened people. They're not attached to anything, including a six patriarch. If I were him, I say, oh, please take me, please take me. I always adored you and admire you, and you're the best thing that could happen to the world. But no, YongHua is so cool. He says, okay, thank you, I'm out of here. And so that tells you that how detached Master YongHua was. And so the sixth patriarch then say, no, don't go, please stay. So the sixth patriarch is the one who begged him to stay. You see? So that's how Master YongHua is kind of a special dude. I mean, special monk. He has very few attachments. So he stayed there. Okay, so the sixth patriarch says, told him to stay. So he says, he's my teacher. If he certified me, I owe him that, and he's a better monk than me anyway. So he stayed for one night. So you see, Master YongHua is really has so few attachments. So he came back and he taught Chan in his small village. He didn't care. He didn't care to stay around. If he stuck around, for example, he would have had so many followers. But no, he said, I'm busy. I don't have time to stick around here. So I've got work to do. So he went back to his village, a small village somewhere in China. We don't even know where anymore. Probably YongHua, whatever. It's his small village. He taught Chan. That's it. So never really achieved the big recognition, except for this one work. Thank you. So he taught Chan, and he's perfectly happy teaching Chan to a handful of people. And then in his spare time, because there wasn't a lot of busy work, so in his spare time he composed his song on enlightenment. So this is the first time ever in the history of Chinese Chan where a Chan master explained about enlightenment. Okay, so it's the very first time ever. Back then, Chan was still in the early stages of development, so this work here is highly revered because it gave insights into what this enlightenment is about. Okay, so it's so extensive that he wrote something about called Song on Enlightenment, and unlike nowadays where people claim they're enlightened, they're speaking nonsense. When Master YongHua described his enlightenment, this is really a incredible glimpse, insight into the world of enlightenment, if you will. Okay, that's why it's highly revered. Okay. All right. So we are on slide 103. The context is that he started talking about. He said, what I'm going to talk about is the state of enlightenment, okay? And I'm kind of ambivalent about it. He is the first one to talk about it. That's why it's a great thing for Chinese Chan. But nowadays, it's probably not as advisable because it's a different world. Here we have different kind of culture. But he says my words describing enlightenment this is a nature. My words, it here says my description cuts directly through to the source. It has all the Buddha's seals. What he's talking about is in the Song on Enlightenment, his description of the state of enlightenment, okay, And if you're curious about our enlightenment, this is a work you need to read and try to understand the explanation from Master YongHua, okay, my Chinese teacher. So here Master YongHua says, when I describe enlightenment for you, my words here in this work cuts directly through to the source, meaning cuts directly through, meaning that he doesn't beat around the bush. Okay? Cuts directly through. So enlightened people, after you become enlightened, typically when they communicate with us, they're very straightforward. So it's cut straight, okay? Cut directly or straight through. He doesn't beat around the bush, okay? There's no need for that. And so this is one of the salient characteristics of people who have wisdom in Buddhism, okay? They no longer beat around the bush. Okay, so cuts directly through, meaning that there is a lot more information available in Buddhism that are not the direct description of enlightenment. Okay, so what I do for you, Master YongHua says, is that I will cut through all the discrepancies or inconsistencies or the ambiguity of the description of in Mahayana for you. And this is the nature of Chan. Chan is that it's 教外. 教外, it is transmitted outside of the teaching, meaning it doesn't necessarily depend on the teaching. Okay, you don't necessarily have to depend on the Buddhist teachings, in order to become enlightened. Okay, it's a different way to reach or to get through to enlightenment, meaning that whatever you learn in the scriptures, Buddhist scriptures, the sutras and shastras and so forth, have their use. But the Chan school characteristic is that it cuts directly through all that huge Buddhist teachings. And that's why it saves time. You can spend your entire life learning the Buddhist scriptures, you still can't get very far, okay, because of the depth of the Buddhist teachings. The breadth and the depth of Buddhist teaching is so vast that most people, they spend their entire life learning about it, they don't get it. Okay? And so the Chan school, as Master YongHua spells it out here, the Chan teaching, Chan instructions is designed to cut directly through, meaning that it's the shortest route to the intentions of the Buddha, to the source. The source is the Buddha's teaching. Okay? And so what I'm describing you, Master YongHua says, what I'm describing to you in this Song of Enlightenment here is actually my own words, but it directly cuts through all the Buddhist scriptures, all the Buddhist teachings, straight to the intentions and meanings of the Buddha. Saves time, basically. And that's why in the Chinese Chan, they said, we are transmitted outside of the teaching. That's the meaning of that. Okay? It is sealed by all Buddhas, meaning that, what does it mean, sealed by all Buddhas? It means that seal of certification When you talk about seal, it's a seal of approval, a seal of authenticity. Okay, so my teaching here has been validated, has been authenticated by the Buddhas themselves. It's a very, very strong statement. He says, have no doubt, have no fear. Okay, my teachings here in the Song Enlightenment is exactly has been approved by the Buddhas. Yes, DTT.
마스터, 제가 마스터께서 저한테 그 배드마우스를 참여하라고 지침을 주셨고 매일매일 하라고 하셨고 그 인스트럭션을 처음 주셨던 게 2022년 11월이었는데 지금까지 매일 하고 있거든요.
Master, you gave me some instruction at 2020 November. You said repent bad mouth. So I do repent every day so far.
그래서 이제 지금까지 새벽 예보로 똑같이 가장 오래 하고 있는 인스트럭션이 이제 매일매일 구업을 참여하고 있는 것인데요. 네, 한 번 더 끊을게요.
So after the morning ceremony, I repent my bad mouth every day.
제 질문은 저의 기준에서는 그냥 다이렉트로 그다음에 스트레이트로 얘기를 하는데 또 어떤 누군가는 제가 배드마우스라고 하는 거예요. 네.
But in my criteria, I said straightforwardly. But some people said it's bad mouth.
그러니까 예를 들면 저희 기준에서 세수를 안 한 사람한테 세수를 안 했다. 세수를 안 하셨잖아요. 라고 말한 것 뿐인데 어떤 사람한테는 제가 구업을 지었다고 하는 거니까 제가 좀 그 경계가 혼란해서요.
For example, there is a person who didn't wash his face. So I told him that you didn't wash your face. So I said straightforwardly, but some people said it's bad mouth. So I'm very confusing about the criteria.
그다음에 이제 두 번째 문제는 뭐냐면 제가 이런 생각을 가지고 있다 보니까 마스터께서 시키시는 대로 매일 앞에 그러니까 제가 영화 스님 도량에 있는 동안에는 매일 아침 모닝 세레머니가 끝나면 바로 불단 앞에 나가서 삼배를 하면서 참회를 하는데 시키신 거니까 한다 뿐이지 전혀 제 마음에서는 그냥 사실대로 말한 건데 왜 내가 이게 계속 참여해야 되지? 그러니까 시키셔서 하는 것 뿐이지 저는 아무런 감흥이 없거든요. 그래서 이게 좀 두 가지가 고민이 돼가지고 질문 드렸습니다.
So every morning, after morning ceremony, I go in front of the Buddha altar and then I bow 3 times and I repent. But I'm thinking that I'm following your instruction. But I just said straightforwardly, why should I repent? So
Very good. Excellent. You've been repenting since 2020? 22 or 20?
2022년 11월부터 했었어요.
2022.
22, every day.
영화 스님 도량에 있는 동안에는 했어요.
While I'm in your way place. Yes.
Only when you are in out my way place. And the rest of the time you did not bother repenting.
그게 아니고요. 마스터 제가 마스터 지침이라서 매일 모닝 세레머니를 하고 있고 만약에 여행을 갔다거나 그러면 능엄조가 포함되어 있기 때문에 마스터께서 새벽 예불 하지 말라고 하셔서 그렇게 장기 여행이나 출장 이런 거를 제외하고 수행을 하는 동안에는 했고 한번 끊을게요.
So following your instruction, I do morning ceremony every day. But when I go to some travel or go to business trip, since the morning ceremony include the Shurangama mantra, and then you said it's better not to recite Shurangama mantra, so only except those situations I did every day.
그리고 이제 제가 뭐 일상생활을 데이타임에 하다가도 이거 좀 내가 말실수를 했다라고 인식을 하는 동안에는 당연히 제 구업에서 참여를 하는데 제가 다시 원래 질문으로 돌아가서 제가 이렇게 다이렉트로 스트레이트로 하는 거랑 구업이랑 그걸 잘 모르겠어요.
And when I recognize I made a mistake, then I repent. But I'm very confusing about the straightforwardly and then the bad mouth thing.
I am a little bit lost to myself, I admit to you. Honey, there's something called the middle way. Okay, so we've been repenting all these years, the last 2 years, and you try to be straightforward. Okay, it's a good thing. Okay, now it's time for you to also repent for being too direct. I'm sorry, I'm trying to keep a straight face. Okay? Can you add that to your daily morning routine? Especially the days that you don't show up to the temple, then you repent for being too direct. And you go to the temple, you repent for being not direct.
그다음에 말이 나온 김에 질문 드리는데 제가 모닝 세레모니 너무 오래 하고 있다고 생각하거든요. 지금 한 횟수로 제가 2021년부터 했으니까 지금까지 하고 있어서 좀 모닝 세레모니를 다른 걸로 대체해 주시면 안 될까 말이 나온 김에 여쭤봤습니다.
And then one more question. I keep my morning ceremony, continuously doing it from 2021, and then I think I did it too long. So could you give me another instruction instead of morning ceremony?
Repent that too. You still have questions? You're welcome. Yeah.
제가 전데 너무 모닝 세레모니를 오래 한 것 같아서요. 이건 중도가 아닌 것 같아요.
I'm a lay person, but I did the morning ceremony for so long time. So I think it's not a middle way.
Okay, so but you only do it only selected days. You're not doing it every day. That's a middle way.
아니요, 마스터. 저 매일 하고 있거든요. 무슨 말씀이세요?
I do every day.
You do it every day. Okay. Listen. That's why you calm down so much. Okay. Can we be direct? May I be direct with you? Yeah? 아니요. 네. No, 네. Okay. 네 in Korean for you, non-Korean people means yes. This is how they say yes. And this is what we in America say, I don't know. Okay. Has your husband complained about you?
그 마스터, 그 남편도 모닝 세레모니가 지침이어가지고 지금 같이 하고 있어서 그 새벽 예불에 대한 컴플레인은 없어요.
My husband's instruction is also doing morning ceremony, so we do together. So he doesn't complain about the morning ceremony.
Okay, no. Does he complain about you? Did he say, like, for example, did he say that, honey, you're too direct to me?
네, 저 너무 잔인할 정도로 직접적으로 얘기한다고 너무 아프다고 불평해요.
Yes, sometimes he complained that I'm too cruel, too directly.
poor guy. He is very special. Hang on to him, okay? Please. Okay, listen. You're doing all the right things except one small change now. Remember, repent on the days you don't go to the temple. Repent for being too direct. And when you go to the temple, repent for being direct. My point being that when you don't have wisdom, then you should be direct. Okay? You're not a teacher yet. That's why you best be direct. But when you have wisdom, like a teacher, then sometimes you cannot be direct. Okay? Does it make sense? That's a middle way. The middle way is that sometimes you're direct, most of the time you're direct, but sometimes you better not be direct. For example, let's assume that you're a teacher, okay? Okay, and that person who did not wash his face, suppose you're a teacher. Put yourself in the teacher's place. You sit here and you say, a person comes into the temple and he forgot to wash his face. Would you as a teacher tell him that you forgot to wash his face? No. It's not polite, right? You, as a teacher, would call his wife and say, you should remind your husband to wash his face. That's being direct. That's being indirectly direct. You see? So instead of being direct with him, you direct with his wife. Does it make sense? So the people with wisdom manage to be direct, but indirectly. Does it make sense to you? So sometimes, my point being that sometimes you should be direct, but if being direct hurts someone's feelings, okay, then you don't want to hurt his feelings. So that's why, all joking aside, when someone comes up to you and say, you should not be that direct to me because it's offensive, you should take that seriously. You should say, in that case, I should learn not to be direct with him. But other people who don't complain, especially in a temple environment, it's perfectly okay for you to be direct. Okay? Because if you offend people, tough luck. Okay? However, that's part of our cultivation. You're supposed to be direct, and the people who are offended by that, if they hear, they learn to cultivate and learn to deal with that. However, there's some special cases where the gentleman there who says, I can't take this, you're too direct with me, that really hurts. Then you should step back. You understand? That's a middle way. The middle way is that we're supposed to be direct, and there's a price to pay for everyone. When we direct, we offend people. People are hurt by that. Okay? Since they're all cultivating, that helps them. That's a good thing. It's a good thing to be hurt every now and then when you cultivate. Okay? It wakes you up. Makes you more humble. That you're not perfect. Someone is reminding you you're not as perfect as you think you are. So it's a good thing. So they're doing us a favor when they hurt our feelings in a temple environment. Okay? However, there's exceptions where when you're too direct and it really hurts some people, they can't take it to the point where they come at you and say, you are too much for me. That's when you learn to back off and stop being direct to that person. So those are exceptions. In Buddhism, by the way, in all instructions, you are supposed to be direct is the main instruction, but also in all instructions, there are exceptions. So exceptions that you cannot be direct with people who will be hurt by that. Our intention of being direct is not to intentionally hurt anyone at all. Yes, we're going to offend them. Yes, they're going to be upset at us. That's normal, but not to the point where they cannot take it and they will run away from a temple. Then you're hurting them. You understand? So you can be direct up to the point where you start really hurting people and they would run away. But if you are direct and the feelings are hurt, but they're willing to work on their feelings, okay? Because basically, when you're direct, it's gonna ruffle a lot of feathers, will hurt a lot of people's feelings. And that's what cultivation is about. You cultivate so that you can not be hurt.
맞서 제가 이 질문을 드렸던 게 생각이 났는데 제가 정말로 뭐 해치려고 하는 마음으로 기분 나쁘라고 제가 다이렉트로 얘기한 적은 정말 없고요. 네.
Master, I never say something directly to harm others intentionally.
근데 이제 제가 다이렉트로 얘기를 했는데 상대방이 상처를 받았을 때, 그러니까 상대방 기분이 나빴을 때 제가 상대방한테는 바로 사과를 했었거든요.
When I say something directly and they feel they got offended, then I apologize them.
근데 이제 문제가 생기는 거는 제가 사과를 했음에도 상대가 이제 마음이 안 풀리는 경우가 있었고, 제가 이 사람이 다이렉트로 얘기해도 되는지 안 되는지를 구별할 수가 없는 거예요, 제가 두 가지 문제가 있는 거예요.
But even if I apologize to them, they still didn't forgive me. So sometimes I'm not sure when I can say directly or when I should not. I could not recognize it.
Well, that's a learning process. When you direct, it's bound to offend people. Most of the time when you direct, it's not pleasant. And that's the nature of our cultivation. We don't pretend. Okay? In our temple, you can be yourself. You can express yourself. And if people happen to ruffle people's feathers and offend people, and they show it, we repent. We apologize. Okay? That's what it takes to come to our temple. You come to our temple, we cultivate, and part of your cultivation is to learn to be direct yourself, and then when others are direct with you, they're going to hurt your feelings. You need to learn to deal with it. That's the nature of cultivation of big Dharma assembly. Okay? So you cannot avoid offending people. However, I need to caution you, in your culture, okay, you don't want to make people lose face publicly. Be careful, okay? That's a big no-no in your culture, or Korean culture, Vietnamese culture, okay? I see that it's very, very offensive for most people, okay? So you may not want to be that direct in public, for example. Okay, don't embarrass others in front of others. There's one rule of thumb of being direct is that you're not a teacher. I'm a teacher. So I'm supposed to be a teacher, so I can be direct in public because my purpose is to hurt you more than others can hurt your feelings. That's a difference. When you direct with others, the feeling is not as hurt as much as when I'm direct with them, with all of you. But that's my role. Okay, but you're different. You don't want to offend people in public. Just because we're direct doesn't mean that we are careless. Okay, direct is that direct. Let me tell you one more aspect of being direct. Direct is also means that sometimes you have to bite your tongue. You don't say anything. You say, you want to be direct, but you say, I'm going to bite my tongue, wait until I can do it in private. or until a better time for me to say it. So that's part of the learning process. Being direct is that yes, you can be direct, but you can wait. Okay? You have to choose the right time to be direct as well. I hope it helps. Okay? So continue to repent. Yes, one.
Master, I'd just like to say that a position I always go on is if you can't employ tact, just keep your opinions to yourself.
Until the proper time.
It's your opinion, and maybe it seems dictatorial coming out of your mouth that you know better than this person's life. But you don't know clearly, you shouldn't say something that could be offensive or hurtful, strike a wrong chord with somebody. You don't really know. Mm-hmm. And I don't particularly like people that don't take that into consideration. In other words, I don't really want to be in a prolonged conversation with people that can't respect whom is listening to them.
I agree. That's American culture. And you are a lot more considerate of others, people's feelings. And that's the culture here. And you and there, but I went to Korea and I taught them that when they come to the temple, they can be direct. That's the only exception. When you're outside, you should be considerate and be careful. But at the temple, we are all cultivators. This environmental cultivation is perfectly okay to hurt others' feelings. Okay? If that happens, we all will learn to rise above it. Okay? So that's the only exception. But thank you for pointing it out. That's right. When you go outside, be more considerate because people are not cultivating. They just want to live their lives and they're not asking us to help them cultivate. So therefore, cut it out, okay? Behave according to the society norms, okay? But when you come to the temple, at our temples in particular, this is where we people gather to cultivate, and therefore you can be direct, knowing full well that others can be direct towards you as well. So that's part of our different culture. Because this is a Mahayana concept where the Hinayana, they sit there and they meditate. Okay, they meditate for 10 years in the mountain. Okay, and this is what the Chan masters tell us. Hey, go up the mountain, meditate for 10 years. They have a little bit of kung fu. They went down, and people look at them. They are too direct to them, and they lose all their samadhi power. And that's because they cultivate by themselves. So they live in a cocoon. So when they go back to society, they can't handle the criticism. Whereas we live in society. I want to point this out to you, the difference. We live in society. Therefore, when we meet others, even though they try to be nice and courteous to us, observe the proper protocols, they're bound to say things that will offend us. Yeah? It happens every single day. Okay? And we don't know how to handle it. We're so ill-equipped to handle criticism, to handle others' low opinions of us. Okay? And that's part of you use to cultivate. So in a way, in our temple environment, it's okay to be direct and not and don't be so scared of offending people. But there are exceptions, like I just pointed out to Jumi. Yeah, that is, there are exceptions when people come to you and say, hey, this really hurts me, please stop. Then you stop. You apologize, you get down. Okay, I didn't teach Jumi this. You get on your knees and say, I'm so sorry. And mean it. Because it's never my intention to hurt you this way. Please forgive me. Okay? I will never do it again. Get it, Jumi? You have to repent sincerely, because our intention when being direct at the temple is never to hurt anyone. Yes, 5. I have 2 questions here. Yes.
Thank you, Master. Here on YouTube, on live chat, we have 3 people who are interested in sharing some information. First of all, there is Jane Clymer, who has a comment for Jumi. Jumi, you are always welcome to talk to me directly. I welcome your directness. Then we have Stefan Wonkmuller. Emitofuo, Master. I would like to get rid of my Buddhist books that are not from Great Master YongHua or you. They are mostly Japanese Zen or Theravada. What should I do? Thank you. This is from Stefan in Germany.
You could give them away to the libraries. I don't know if in Germany the libraries would accept books. That's what I would do. The library would just take any books. Basically, in Buddhism, they can't tell. Anyway, I would give them away to libraries. I would give them, return them to the temples where you got them from. I'll give them to temples. And what we do here in USA is that there are some people who would want to get rid of the books. They bring it to our temples, and we help them get rid of it. Okay, we burn them. We can do it without creating problems ourselves, but you can't. So I'm glad you asked. When you have Buddhist things, be careful on how you dispose of them, because it's a very serious offense if you dispose of them improperly. Yes, 3rd question.
3rd is from one of our participants from live chat. His name is Hua, H-U-A. Thank you, Master. This is an update. I believe he has asked questions previously about, I guess, his girlfriend or relationships. He says, update from me. I broke up with my girlfriend a few weeks ago, and actually I'm feeling quite good about that. I thought I might regret it, but I'm okay. Blessings.
We don't destroy relationships. We improve relationships. Okay, please. People will get the wrong impression. When you do Chan, by the way, Chan, the nature of the Chan training is that it will improve your relationships. Absolutely. Okay. And of course, occasionally, it may be better because it's not meant to be to break it up. But if you want to improve relationships, actually Chan is a very good way. It will help you improve relationships. How so? Anyone else? Yes, 7.
Actually, I want to comment on the first question about of being direct and offending
Sure.
other people.
Feel free.
It's just my personal opinion. I feel that everything besides what we do, what we say, and the words we use can carry a certain amount of energy, and that energy can affect other people. So, and the other thing is the intention behind what we say and the words that we choose. If we are aware of the intention, sometimes we are direct, but we have to look within to see what intention we had behind those words. And the other thing that we have to be aware of is that words do carry energy, actions carry energy, so are words. So those can make an impact on others around us. So I sometimes, if we are not aware of the other people, take the neutral way, or until we know better, the other person better, so that we can approach them. So that's why sometimes they say how we say is maybe as important as what we say. But I believe that words do carry energy, and it does make an impact on the person who's receiving it, and also it's going to reflect back on the person who says it. So I think being aware of our intentions and our choice of words might diffuse, the necessity to repent on what we say behind, and cause misunderstanding.
Okay.
That's my just opinion.
Very good. That's the common wisdom. When you mature enough, you understand that words can hurt as much as well as words can help.
And on the recipient side, also, if the understanding level is that to a certain level, and understand that the person who says those things doesn't mean any harm. So there's a point where the forgiveness come in to diffuse any consequence from that event. So forgiveness on the recipient side is also huge. That to have the ability to forgive.
Don't do that. Cut it out.
Don't.
Fooling yourself. What you just talk about, you say, this person cannot possibly mean to harm me and hurt me with the words. How do you know? You don't know that person's intentions. So stop fooling yourself. That's nonsense.
No, in general though.
It's no generality. You don't need to interpret people's intentions. You don't know. So stop fooling yourself. It's not necessary. You should only look at yourself only. Don't worry about the other person. That's nonsense.
But forgiveness...
Forget about forgiving.
Forgiveness sometimes is not for the other person, it's for yourself.
No. You're fooling yourself. Don't do that. There's no need for it. It's okay to be... The first part of your comment makes sense, because it's a good thing. You have to be careful from your part not to hurt others. Okay? On the second part, where you look at people's intentions, it's nonsense. It's not cultivation. When we cultivate, we don't worry about the other person. We look at ourselves.
I don't worry about the other person, but sometimes, like in real life, like my husband says certain things to me, and things like that. But if I don't bring myself to the point of forgiveness, it only further add the spark to the whatever is there. So I have to stop myself, and forgiving sometimes is not necessarily for him, but it's for me.
You're fooling yourself.
For myself.
No, don't do that. No need. Okay? When you understand a little bit more, you see that it's a form of self-delusion. We don't advocate that. Okay? There's no need to forgive. We need to be honest with ourselves. You say, I'm still angry at you. That's my truth. I will not try to fool myself into forgiving you, because you Catholic. Okay? It doesn't matter. You need to be honest with yourself. You have to be direct with yourself. Don't beat around the bush. Oh, he didn't mean it. Look at his face. He's not that kind of person. No, stop fooling yourselves.
No, I don't make excuses for him, but sometimes by forgiving the situation, it brings me peace.
Don't forgive. You're fooling yourself again. You make excuses to fool yourself. It's unhealthy. if it's self-delusion, it's not a good thing to do, trust me. I would rather you stay angry. There's better, much more effective ways to deal with your anger than trying to delude yourself into forgiving. Nonsense. It's such nonsense to delude yourself. No need. Why? For the sake of peace, for the sake of harmony? That's nonsense. If society is built upon self-delusion, the society is nonsense. It cannot last. Relationships are not healthy. It's based on self-delusion. Be careful. Don't indulge in that. But just remember that. Okay? I know you share your own experience. It makes sense to you, work for you. But I submit to you that the second part, where you feel the need to forgive others for having offended you, is nonsense. There's no need. You have to be true to yourself. You have to say, I'm still angry because of those words. And by looking at your anger, you'll be able to fix it. But if you delude yourself and say, I don't want to be angry, it's better for me to forgive someone so that I'm not angry anymore, it's self-delusion. That's not Buddhism.
But sometimes I feel that's more like a practice of compassion.
Another delusion. Be careful. Okay, this is where Buddhist teachings are abused and misinterpreted. That's not what the Buddha meant. It's not how you're supposed to cultivate. That's wrong. It's self-delusion. We don't advocate it. Yes, in the back. 8.
Thank you, Master. I'd like to make some comments. During my first year of my marriage, I had a difficult time to communicate with my husband. And my husband being born here, and he's like totally Caucasian, I was communicating with him very directly. And I remember the first year of marriage, he told me, your words are like a razor blade. It hurts my feeling. And me being very direct person, I didn't get it. I didn't understand that I was hurting his feeling. But he kept mentioning that your words are hurting me.
That's when you teach him, learn to forgive me.
Now through the cultivation, I now begin to understand that I need to balance. Sometimes it's being middle way and being at right timing, where I could be direct. Sometimes I can't. So I think
for you, most of the time you can't.
Yeah. But through the cultivation, it really...
That's a middle way. You
yes.
have to recognize the balance.
Right. So through the cultivation, I began to realize that it really helps the relationship between husband and wife.
Yeah, we screw up. In a relationship, we all screw up. And we recover. But don't fool yourself. There's no need. Because it ruins relationships, by the way, in the long haul. Okay. Yes, 5.
So I have a comment for the lady. I think I tried that too, like try to forgiving, as if I'm like someone who could forgive people. But in relationship, I think what I did was sugarcoating the situation. It's kind of like a low form of coping skill. It doesn't really resolve the problem. So when you really stop doing that, and just like Master said, looking at the problem and why am I angry, why am I hurt, then that really teaches me how to be a better person, and eventually it helps with the relationship.
So I'm going to give you the answer. Time is short, so no more questions. We could be here forever. I asked you the question. What was the question? Anyone remembers? Jung, what's the question? He wasn't paying attention. Caught him finally. It's 5 minutes ago. The question is that when you practice Chan, it will improve interpersonal relationships. Why? Let me tell you, this is a very important aspect that most people don't realize. When you practice Chan, okay, your relationship will improve. What does it take to improve relationships? Patience. The patience, the Chan training, when you practice Chan, the way we train you, it will increase your patience. And that's the essential ingredient for improved relationship. We always have conflict. When we put two people together, it's always conflict. It doesn't matter. You start being lovey-dovey, and then won't be soon, I don't like you anymore. You look so ugly in the morning. You don't do dishes. You're a slob. You don't wash your face. Okay? So you're bound to have conflict. And this is why relationships deteriorate over time, because it adds up and up and up. And on the other hand, some people advocate, I should forgive them for offending me. That's a form of self-delusion that also will increase the distances. The resentment is still there. You say, I should forgive, it's to my advantage to forgive. But actually, you are unhappy. It's you who have to do all the forgiving. And the guy, especially the pale-faced guy, doesn't do anything. Okay? So don't do that. The point here is that in Chan training, you are being trained to endure something that's difficult for you to endure, leg pains, back pains, and so forth. The discomfort there is not natural for you, and yet you must learn to endure it. That is a personal choice, okay? If you can endure that, it builds your patience. That's why when you're with someone else, they will do things that will offend you, okay? And you're able to, because of your daily practice of Chan, meditation, your tolerance level increases and it gets higher and higher and higher. That's why you can stay a little bit longer. It's in numbers, folks. You stay longer because you can take it more. Not because you forgive, not because you love. The love doesn't last very long. We all know that. No? Jung is still single, so let him figure it out. Okay? The rest of us who have been into meaningful relationship, it's disappointing. Okay? The only way for us to stay together is to tolerate more and more and more. And that's a Chan training, to the point where it's no longer tolerating, but also forgiving naturally without fooling ourselves. How can you forgive? How can you forgive? You forgive, learn, and this is a lesson for you. You forgive by first tolerating the hurt. Okay? And number two, Chan will teach you to recognize your attachment that makes you get hurt. And you drop the attachment, he can't hurt you anymore. She can't hurt you anymore. Okay? That's a secret of great relationships. Yes, after a while, the love is not there anymore. But we can tolerate it. DDT.
마지막으로 그러면 앞에 그러니까 매일 참회는 하는데 알터 앞에 가서 참회하는 것만 좀 수정해 주실 수 있을까요? 뭐 어떤 문제가 있냐면 제가 앞에 나가서 참회를 하니까 제 엉덩이가 마스터 XC를 향하게 돼서 좀 비켜서 했더니 지금 종인 스님까지 계셔가지고 알터 앞에 나가서 참회하는 것만 조금 수정해 주셨으면 감사하겠습니다.
Master, I will repent every day. But one thing, could you change it? Your instruction is to repent in front of the altar. But if I do that, my hip point to the Master XC, and then if I turn the direction, my hip point to the Jongin Snim. So could you please change it?
One final instruction for you. When I tell you not to ask questions, don't ask questions. We stop here. Let's go have lunch.